And then we have her colleagues with us as well too. We have Dr. Emily Kirchner, Attorney Tina Freiling, and Chief Michael Sliker. So they are all here and they're excited to share their information with you regarding the Criminal Justice Department at Mercyhurst University. I'm going to go ahead and first turn it over to Dr. Garris.
Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Garris. I'm an associate professor and chair of the department here. I've been at Mercyhurst for about 9 years. And my areas of interest are higher education in prison settings and also the commutation process in Pennsylvania. So what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of information, then turn it over to my colleagues to speak about some of our program highlights. So we do have a criminal justice major here at Mercyhurst. What we do is run the gamut of areas of interest in policing, courts, corrections, working with victims, working with offenders, working with juveniles, or working with adults in some capacity in the criminal justice system. And also we learn about theories of crime, why people do the things that they do, what kind of motivations that they have, whether at the individual level, a peer level, an organizational level, and or a community level. And in order for us to get that, students will take 12 required courses that we have prescribed. And then students can take 5 elective courses. And those 5 elective courses could really be choosing your area of interest. And that area of interest could be law enforcement, it could be pre-law, it could be criminology, juvenile justice, it could be corrections, or a combination of any of those areas with the courses that we offer. In addition to our major, we have a 4+1 program, and that 4+1 program allows students who are thinking about graduate school, and they can, as they are an undergraduate student, take courses in our graduate program in criminal justice administration. This is saving time for students and saving tuition dollars for students who are really thinking about graduate school as well. And with this program, students in their junior and senior year would be able to take a few graduate courses. I can turn it over to my colleague, Attorney Freiling, to speak about our 3+3 program.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tina Freiling. I have been teaching at Mercyhurst for 23 years now. And I am an attorney, so I teach the law-related courses primarily. I teach constitutional law, some ethics courses, legal research and writing, and I also teach a course called victimology, where we study how victims are treated within the court system. We also have a couple of 3+3 programs with some law schools. We currently have one with Duquesne University and with Cleveland Marshall School of Law at Cleveland State. So if a student would like to be very accelerated and come to Mercyhurst for 3 years and get their criminal justice degree and then go to law school for 3 years, they can do that with those 2 universities. So we just make sure that students take all of the criminal justice courses that we think that they need in their 3 years at Mercyhurst. And then their first year of law school is basically also their 4th year of undergraduate. And then some of the courses that they take in law school will apply towards their degree, and then they end up with their bachelor's degree after that first year. So you do have to have a certain score on your LSAT and obviously good grades, but we have had a couple of students do this, and it cuts out a whole year of paying tuition and things. So it's a great opportunity if someone thinks that they might want to pursue that and they kind of identify that to us early on, we can work with them to get that done.
All right, I'll talk about the next part. I am Dr. Kirchner. This is my 6th year at Mercyhurst. I teach courses that nobody else wants to teach, like research methods and theory. I also teach juvenile delinquency. I teach a class called Human Behavior and Corrections. A lot of the required classes, it's almost impossible to leave Mercyhurst in CJ and not have at least one class with me. Our program is incredibly student-centered. So we have really close relationships with our students through different informal and formal forms of mentorship. We do research with them. We work on pretty big projects with them. We take them on trips. We do so many things with them. And if they want to do something, most of the time, all they have to do is ask. And if we can find a way, we will. When you come into our program, you are given a faculty advisor. It is one of the faculty members you see here, or our colleague, Dr. Saylor, who's in class right now, so he couldn't be here. We stick with you for your entire time here at Mercyhurst. So we're there to make sure you're taking the classes that you need to, but also anything else that we can help with, including writing recommendation letters for jobs or graduate school. So you get like a really personalized touch when it comes to that mentorship and advising. We have pretty small classes for a criminal justice program. Most of our classes are right around 25 students. When you get up into some of our upper level electives, you could have as few as 14, 15 students. We do have 3 clubs in our department that are completely run by the students. Some of the presidents of those clubs are actually here. So our 3 clubs are the Alpha Phi Sigma Honor Society, which is a nationally recognized honor society. We have our Student Alliance for Prison Reform, which is a group focused on social justice issues and clearly prison reform. And then we have the Criminal Justice Association, which is open to all majors and minors on campus. And they bring in a lot of speakers. We go on trips. We take advantage of opportunities we have because of our Mercyhurst Police Academy in Northeast. So we take students to do use of force, all different kinds of things like that. So I'm going to let Attorney Freiling talk to you a little bit about mock trial.
So in my class, constitutional law, we do a mock trial. All of the students participate in it. It is super fun. We even managed to do it with COVID happening in the fall. We did it on Zoom, and it actually worked really well for that. So students play the roles of attorneys and also of witnesses. And they have a whole criminal trial. Some are prosecutors, some are defense attorneys, and then we have a jury, a mock jury in there, and the jury makes a decision about who wins and who loses. So, but it's really, really a great time. And students tell me that it really helps them to put all of the things that they've learned in all of their classes to some practical use. Whether you're a police officer or a probation officer, in the FBI, working for children's services, working with juveniles, you're going to sometime end up in court and you're going to end up testifying. And being able to say that, you know, you had an experience in your undergraduate courses where you were able to practice that is really helpful for students. So that's a great opportunity, and all the students really look forward to it.
Another activity that we have outside of the classroom is we do offer study abroad. We generally offer 1 criminal justice focused study abroad a year. So I've taken students to Paris, to London, to Ireland, to Northern Ireland. COVID has put a stop to a trip last year to Scotland and London to study serial killers. But this spring, hopefully, somehow, we will make it to Germany, Prague, and the Czech Republic to study their prison system compared to the American prison system. And new trips, we talk about them every single year, and a lot of our students are able to take advantage of those. So that's just one of the activities that we do outside of the class. The prison class is another example of those. Dr. Garris?
Thanks. And with the prison class, last year was the first time we were able to do this. And I've taken 10 students from the university into SCI Albion, which is a medium male security facility, which is about 30 minutes away. And we have class with incarcerated students. And the goal there is to really break down barriers between future criminal justice practitioners and incarcerated individuals, and to talk about important issues and contemporary issues in criminal justice. And I'll cede some of my time for that when we have our student panel. But it's important that we understand that learning takes place not only in the classroom, but with activities that are outside. So that study abroad, that opportunity to take a class with the incarcerated individuals, to work with juveniles in a community center for some classes. For a senior seminar, typically we would have some work in the community as well. So it's a really important opportunity for students to learn outside of the classroom. And another way that we do that is through internships, which can be done during the fall or spring semester or in the summer at a state, local, or federal level. And we have students who can speak to that as well. So I will turn it over to Mike to speak about the Police Academy.
Mike, you might be muted.
He's on the phone. He's at work. He's a police chief. So sometimes he has to do work too. So clearly that is what's going on. So
no, my mouse decided to die.
Oh, okay.
I killed my mouse, but I will fix my mouse when we're done. But anyway, I am Chief Michael Sliker. I am the police chief here in Northeast Pennsylvania. It's in Erie County. Probably about 15 miles or so from Mercyhurst campus, but it is 2 miles from the police academy. And fortunately, I get the opportunity to double dip both with the police academy and the criminal justice program at main campus, which I think brings a really unique perspective to the classroom for the students, to where I'm able to apply the practical experience as well as which is about 33 years, 30 plus years anyway of law enforcement experience. But I can also apply that to the academics. At the same time, I'm teaching at the Academy in Mercyhurst University. I am also working on my PhD. I should hopefully have that wrapped up next year. So I have a wide variety of experiences that I can share with the students. I do teach criminal investigation, contemporary police problems, police administration, police functions, and also interviewing and interrogation. At the academy, I really kind of center on the law aspect of policing. For example, criminal procedure and the laws of arrest. I'll be teaching that next week. I really enjoy the academy and encourage anybody looking at getting in policing, if nothing else, come in and sit in on a class to see if it's something that you would want to consider integrating into your college experience and degree program. When you walk away from the academy, you're actually walking away with a certificate from the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission to become a certified police officer. How that positions you if you're looking toward the career is it will, not only do you walk away with a 4-year degree, but you're also walking away with a certification that can be activated by a police agency once you're picked up by them, once you get hired. So I prefer when I'm hiring, which we're in a hiring process right now, of looking at potential police officers, candidates who do have the background in education, because it does make a more well-rounded police officer. And with the police academy tied into that degree, I'm immediately able to get you certified and on the road. So it does better position you for getting picked up by a local police department. Also at the academy, you get other practical experiences, such as going out on a firing range to learn how to use police weaponry, handguns, shotguns, rifles. You also get to go up to the Erie Speedway and learn how to operate a police vehicle under pursuit conditions in a controlled environment. And there's also all of the other traditional things, such as learning self-defense and a few other instances. De-escalation is a big push right now. And also they incorporate a curriculum on bias-based policing so that we can work on all of those reforms that are necessary today in our contemporary society. So that's pretty much all I have.
And in our senior seminar course, I talk about professional development with students, making them to be career ready. So working on resumes, cover letters, job searches, interview skills and techniques. All of this is to really have a nice package of information for our students, and putting together the knowledge, skills, and abilities that they've learned throughout their 4 years, and how they can then bring that into an entry-level position, whether it be in policing, courts, corrections, victim services, juvenile justice areas. So we try to, during your 4 years, we really work toward having students have that foundational knowledge and being able to translate that into the current workforce. And Attorney Freiling can speak to our Criminal Justice Advisory Board.
So we have an advisory board that is made up of members of the community, sort of far and near. It includes a lot of chiefs of police, chiefs of probation, people in the Secret Service, just people that are practicing in the criminal justice area, and that are leaders and that do a lot of hiring. So we meet with them on a periodic basis and try to ask them what are they looking for in a person that they might want to hire. So that helps us to be able to make sure that we're including in all of our classes things that are good for our students in terms of being, a person who looks very attractive to a prospective employer. And we have meet and greets with them when it's not COVID time, where students can, get to meet them in person and talk to them and find out about job opportunities and just different things that are going on in the criminal justice field from them. So we've been really pleased with all of the people that have agreed to be on this advisory board for us. And we can also basically, call them up anytime that we want. If students would like to hear from someone who works in a particular area of the criminal justice profession, we can have one of them come in and speak to our students, or, they might know someone else who might be able to do that. So it's a really great opportunity for our students to get to know people that are in the field.
And lastly, in terms of job placements, we do a first destination survey with our graduates to see where they land within the first 6 months of graduation. And we have found over the past few years that we have a very healthy placement rate. And that means that students are either in a graduate school or in law school or in a job in the field in criminal justice. So we have a number of students who are interested and are gaining jobs in probation and parole services at both the adult and juvenile justice systems, also in pretrial services, working at a detention facility. We have some that are working for government contractors and are moving to Washington, D.C. And we have other individuals who are in the pipeline for policing, either in the academy or have recently graduated from the academy in their last semester at the university, and they're in the pipeline for whether it's city, municipal level, the state police, and or federal law enforcement positions. So we do have a healthy placement rate for our students, and it's wonderful. It's a good metric to show that our curriculum is strong and that what we're providing students here is really readying them for their first position in the criminal justice system.
Thank you to our faculty for that amazing overview of our criminal justice department at Mercyhurst. It's now my pleasure to go ahead and introduce some of our current students. Mike, do you mind introducing yourself first?
Hi, yeah, I'm Michael Dulick. I'm a criminal justice major, and I'm a senior here at Mercyhurst.
Awesome,
I also
thanks.
have a concentrate in law enforcement.
Awesome, thanks, Mike. And Lucas, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm a double major in sociology and criminal justice. I'm a pre-law concentration, and I'm a senior, and I'm the president of APS, Alpha Phi Sigma.
Thanks, Lucas. Isabel, do you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Isabel Laffler. I am a CJ major with a concentration in pre-law, and I have a minor in psychology of crime and justice. and I'm also the president of the Student Alliance for Prison Reform Club here at Mercyhurst.
Excellent. Thanks, Isabel. And Haley, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'm Haley. I'm a senior from Newmarket, Ontario, Canada. I am a CJ major with concentrations in pre-law and corrections, and I have a minor in psychology of crime and justice as well. And I'm the vice president of APS.
Wonderful. Thank you all for those introductions. To our prospective students and families that have joined us today, you now have had the pleasure of meeting most of our faculty in the Criminal Justice Department, as well as a couple of our current students. It's definitely an opportunity now for you to engage via the chat if you would like, but I'll go ahead and pose maybe the first question or two. Dr. Garris, do you have any advice for students coming to Mercyhurst to help ease that transition to collegiate life?
I would say there's a number of things that students can do. It is being open to new experiences, not only with different kinds of coursework that you will be having and approaches to your courses, but also getting involved on campus and learning the culture of campus, as well as meeting people who may be different from yourselves, and really creating a sense of community for you. So you have what you had in high school, but now you're moving into a new area, and with your professional development, you're starting that that track, and having access to different individuals is very helpful for that growth.
Thanks, Dr. Garris. I appreciate that. Michael, do you mind talking a little bit about your personal experience with the SCI Albion class and how you feel that enhanced your education at Mercyhurst?
Yes, I'd love to. That class was offered to me in last spring, was the first time we were able to go with the 10 of us. And it was a really close-knit group, which is what I really liked about the class. We really got to know each other on a personal level. And I think it was the most interesting class I've taken so far, due to the fact that it gave me another view on the criminal justice program, about what the inmates want to see done, opposed to what we're just learning about. So I can take their perspectives and bring them into the classroom and ask those questions that they want to know. And these guys would be reading way more than the students would be, and be way more prepared than some of the students would be, which I was very surprised about. But they were very engaged, and we all thought it'd be very awkward on the first day, just not getting to know, like, I'm sitting next to inmates, but after that first like 10 minutes, we're like, oh, we're just sitting next to another student that wants to learn the same things we want to. So they would ask us questions, we would ask them questions. And I know Dr. Garris used to get upset on how loud we would get and how we couldn't stop the conversations. But it was very interesting just to see their point of views rather than just seeing by the book of what we're learning.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Dr. Kirchner, you talked a little bit about study abroad opportunities, and I definitely could feel your passion for travel as well, too. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some opportunities traveling that you think students gain while they're on those adventures, rather than things that they can always accomplish in the classroom?
Well, it depends on where we go. When I went to Ireland, I took students to a prison in Dublin, a working prison. And some of the students were actually not criminal justice students, so they didn't know what to expect. And kind of like Mike was talking about, like meeting inmates and realizing like they're just another person is really important. And I can't show you that in a class. I can tell you about it, but you have to actually experience it yourself. Definitely get some of that in the study abroad when we go to prisons. When I was in London, I took students to a history museum that was all about the London Metropolitan Police, which is what our police force was actually based off of. So they actually got to see uniforms and original arrest warrants from like the early 1800s. And to actually physically see those things is so much different than just talking about them. But also when we travel, we try to make connections with people who work in the criminal justice field in these other countries. So we went to one of the oldest pubs in the world in London and sat down with a lawyer who practices international law in London. And the students just had a pint with him and like talked about what it was like to practice the law in London compared to here in the United States. Those are things I cannot do physically here in the United States. In Northern Ireland, we got to see the wall that separates the two sides of Northern Ireland, which originally separated the Catholics and the Protestants, and to go for so long talking about these things and then go there and see that it's still standing, that there still exists this like rift in the community. There's just nothing like seeing it yourself. And I can't wait to see what other places we get to go in the next few years.
And Dr. Kirchner, is it okay if students have never been outside of the United States when they actually sign up for one of these courses?
Yes, I have taken students on a plane for the first time. I have taken them outside of the country for the first time. We generally travel in a pretty big group. It's nothing to be fearful of. We expect you to have absolutely no travel experience, and that is totally fine. Those of us who choose to go are good problem solvers. We're also good with people. So we can handle just about any meltdown, including losing baggage for 4 days or having an ATM eat your credit card. I've dealt with all of it. So it's fine.
Excellent. Thanks, Dr. Kirchner. Lucas, I know that you actually have a minor in sociology. Is that something that you knew you were interested in coming to Mercyhurst, or is that something that you kind of stumbled in? And since you do have this minor, do you still foresee yourself graduating within 4 years?
I'm actually a double major, and I came to Mercyhurst for forensic science and switched halfway through my sophomore year, and I'm going to double major in 2.5 years, and it's possible. I can do other things. I have a job this semester. It's not that hard. You can do it all. But it's a pretty easy thing to do. Like I said, I didn't plan on doing this. It just happened during my sophomore year, and I'm glad it did.
And Lucas, were people supportive of that change? Because I think that's a great point. A lot of our students come in thinking that they have everything laid out, but sometimes you stumble into something and your interests actually change. Do you feel that the Criminal Justice Department welcomed you into their pseudo family on our campus, even though you didn't come in as part of their department as a freshman?
Of course. I came to Dr. Kirchner basically having a meltdown because I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And she took me under her wing. She's now my pseudo mom, basically. But we're all a little family here. Everyone in the CJ department wants you to succeed and they want to help you. And it's great. So yeah, I definitely excelled because of that.
Awesome, Lucas. And roughly about how many credits did you have to take each term to go ahead and pick up that dual major?
Well, I started with forensics. The first 2 semesters I took 16, but I've been taking 18 since then. But this semester I have 12. So I'm chilling this semester. But before I got to work for it.
That's awesome. And that's a good point. To be a full-time student, typically students are carrying 12 credits, but you can go ahead and pick up to 18 without incurring any overload fees. Those terms that you took 18 credits, Lucas, did you still manage to go ahead and find time to hang out with your friends and participate in other clubs and activities, or were you solely having to focus on the books?
First semester of my sophomore year, I was still a little stressed because I didn't know anything about CJ. So that semester was a little hard for me to try to make time for my social life. But now that I have an understanding, everything's coming a lot more easier. So I don't have to put as much work in as I used to. So now I can have time for friends. You can ask Izzy. I hang out with Izzy every single day. So I have time for friends.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Lucas. Chief Sliker, can you tell us a little bit about roughly how many students might take advantage of the Academy annually and when they should raise their hand if they do have an interest in that?
20 to 30 is what we've been averaging. I think right now they're right about 25. But it's my understanding it's best to incorporate it, plan on it earlier in your academic endeavors and have it fall into your senior year. I hope I'm getting that right. I'm watching Dr. Kirchner, but have it fall into your senior year and roll right on out of your college life with both a degree and a certificate in hand.
Thanks, Chief. I appreciate that. Izzy, I know that you are actually interested in graduate school. Can you tell us a little bit about what your career aspirations are as you kind of look for the perfect graduate school for you?
Yeah, so I started looking at graduate school not really having a good idea of what I wanted to do. And I'm still not 100% sure of what I want to do, but I know that the path I want to take is definitely criminal justice related or criminology. I'm more interested in the research aspect of it. I'm not a very tactical person, so law enforcement is not really for me, but I do love studying criminology and criminal justice. So I definitely want to be behind a desk somewhere with that. And it's been quite a journey with trying to find the right schools, and I'm still looking, I'm still waiting to hear back, but the professors make it really easy to guide you through this process. So I'm really thankful for that one.
Thanks, Izzy. I appreciate that. And Haley, you actually are also a student athlete on our campus, and roughly 1 in 4 of our students at Mercyhurst are athletes. Can you tell us a little bit about what sport you participate in the way that you've been able to manage your academics, but then also your athletic responsibilities?
Yeah, so we have a lot of NCAA sports on campus, but I actually don't play NCAA. I play club hockey, which was a pretty new program. It started my freshman year. That's originally why I came here. So I actually have a little more leeway than I would think most NCAA students do, which is why I've been able to dual concentrate and do an internship and have a minor. The professors on campus, like if you ever had to travel for a game, they're very understanding of that, and they'll make sure that if you miss anything, either you can get it from a classmate or from the professor themselves. I have pretty good time management skills, I think. That's just from growing up playing a sport. So it's really not hard. There's a good time difference of classes. So if you prefer a night class, we have night classes. If you're better in the morning, we have classes in the morning too. So you can really mold your schedule to fit your athletics and your personal life. So yeah.
Awesome. And Haley, do you mind telling us a little bit about what your internship was and what you had to do for that internship?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough my junior year to intern at the Erie County District Attorney's Office. So I was really excited because it's something back home, I'm obviously from Canada, that most undergraduates don't get the chance to do, work in the legal profession. So essentially, I just assisted the assistant district attorneys and the district attorney in their daily duties, whether that's creating notes for them about cases, doing a little bit of legal research, going over evidence, sitting in on trials, asking questions about why. It was really just me being a sponge there. I was just in the office. Any opportunity that I got or anything that interested me, they let me do. And I got to watch trials. I got to help interview some of our witnesses and help with evidence. So it was really interesting because it was an actual look at what I want to do in my future. So I'm going to law school in the fall. I've been accepted in December, and I already know exactly what it would be like to be in the legal field. So it's like something that I can I don't have to worry about oh, will I like going to law? I know I'll like it because I did it for a semester. And that's something that's really unique about Mercyhurst, is that you have that ability to do that at such a young age, in your undergrad.
Congratulations, Haley. That's awesome.
Thanks.
And do you feel that Mercyhurst prepared you for that internship? And do you also feel prepared heading into graduate school?
Yeah, so I was really nervous my junior year applying for it because I hadn't taken any law classes with Attorney Freiling yet, because most of them are your junior year. And so I kind of was like, well, I've done some research and I know what I'm doing, but I really just want to use this internship to gain that experience. And they were nice enough to do that. And I also had the good enough grades. So they were like, okay, this girl knows what she's doing. She'll be fine here. And that's all thanks to my first and second year classes. And for law school, yeah, I was lucky enough also to have Attorney Freiling and Dr. Kirchner write me letters of recommendation, which obviously helped me get into law school. So thank you again. And I'm actually doing a dual program. So I'm going to do my Juris Doctorate and hopefully a master's in the same amount of time. So yeah, if it wasn't for the classes that I've taken in my undergrad, like legal research and also research methods, I don't think I would have done master's. I don't think I would have done law school as well. And I've already written and I already know how to do legal research. So I really do feel prepared. I'm not too stressed out about going to law school because I've had those opportunities already and I know what I'm getting into.
Good for you. That's awesome, Haley. I appreciate the information. Thanks to our faculty for also engaging in our chat. I really appreciate you answering some of our prospective students' questions as they came in. One of the questions that I found really also very intriguing was, how have our students managed the virtual and in-person world? Mike, do you mind talking a little bit about any courses that you might have had sometimes in person, but also virtually?
So right now I'm on an AB schedule. So I'm with my last name being Dulick, I'm mostly they split it up to A or B depending on what your name is. So I'm in A group. So yesterday I had 2 in-person classes with 1 online. And then on Thursday that will switch. So I'll have 2 online with 1 in person. And then today I have 2 online. So it's kind of getting used to it. Like I was talking to Dr. Garris before, from last semester, you got to switch up your whole schedule, and it's just kind of getting used to. Am I supposed to be in class today, or am I on my computer? So it's kind of just keeping track. So I would say just keeping up with where you're at on what days really helps with that. But it does kind of take away from the classroom experience, but you also feel like you're there because you're also seeing the classroom when you're on Zoom. You see the other students, and the teachers do a really good job of engaging with it as well. They don't just concentrate on the classmates that are actually in person. They make sure that they get everybody on Zoom in person and make sure their cameras are on and make sure they're engaged as well. So you're not taking the easy way out if you're online for that day of classes. You're still there. You still have to put the work in, but the hardest part is just knowing if you're in class or not, and you just gotta stay on top of that.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And hopefully we are back to fully in person as soon as the pandemic allows. I know that I think I can speak on behalf of our students and also our faculty that we really enjoy the classroom setting. We enjoy seeing people in person, and we are very eager to return to that sense of normalcy as soon as it's safe to do so.
And just one more thing, tying that back to Zoom, Dr. Garris, was when we had our SCI Albion class, we were actually booted to not like have our big final project, but it was kind of cool that the president allowed us to have a Zoom meeting with one of the inmates of kind of saying our one last time seeing each other. And one thing he says, all he could do was thank us for being there and letting us like hear his options. So that was kind of cool that we were still kind of able to say goodbye, because the last time we saw him was before we went on spring break. And then when we got back, we're like, we can't do anything. Like we didn't get to say our like goodbye. Like we ended up building such a big relationship. It kind of sucked not seeing him one more time. So it was kind of nice having the Zoom aspect of seeing those guys one more time.
Thanks, Mike. And I think that's a good point. It's amazing how nimble sometimes we can transition from an in-person world to a virtual world and still kind of find the positives even in this virtual world. I think Chief Sliker, there's another question that came in for you. Stephen was wondering, as someone who wants to go into police or some form of agency, do you have any advice? Would the police academy be worthwhile for Stephen?
It absolutely is. I was just typing a response back to him, and I'll post that. But for everybody, it really is a good experience if you're considering police work. I know one of the other students had mentioned that you don't know where you want to go. Might have been you, Isabel. Law enforcement may not be for you, but if you do go into the academy, you do get your college degree. Don't forget, policing also has a large population of civilian employees as well. So if you get your certification in policing, you decide that you don't want to be a police officer on the street, you can also get into the civilian aspect of it as well. But definitely, if you're looking at law enforcement, go to the academy, incorporate that into your program early. And it does apply to some other states. For example, if you want to work in Florida, they'll accept our certification. It's just you may have to put in about 6 weeks of their academy to learn the rules of criminal procedure, vehicle code, criminal code in Florida. So other states do recognize our police academy. You may just have to do a quick expedited version of theirs when you get there. So it's definitely worth it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I saw Jack had some additional questions, and I think Dr. Kirchner answered those. I also wanted to let Jack know that we are hosting an Army ROTC coffee and conversation next week as well, too. So if you did want to go ahead and kind of talk to some other cadets as well as some professionals in the field at Mercyhurst in that area too, feel free to check that virtual event out also on our mercyhurst.edu/visit website. And then I think we answered some questions about Dr. Garris's background. Did any of our prospective students that were here today want to go ahead and unmute themselves and ask any of our panelists a question audibly? If not, I'm going to go ahead and ask our students that are with us to maybe go ahead and share their favorite Mercyhurst memory with us. Izzy, do you mind starting, not to put you on the spot?
Yeah, I'll start. I think one of my favorite moments, it was an entire class. I really enjoyed the human behavior and corrections class that Dr. Kirchner taught last semester. Even when the pandemic hit in the middle of it, that was a really fun class. You do like a prison simulation, and I thought it was a great way to interact with students that I had classes with for my whole Mercier's career, but I'd never really talked to. And I just thought it was a great way to interact with the professors and the students and really try to work together on something. So yeah, that was my favorite.
Thanks, Izzy. I appreciate that. Lucas, what is your favorite memory thus far at being at Mercyhurst?
My favorite memories are the Hearst days. Unfortunately, we're not going to get our senior Hearst day, but I love those things. I love running around outside. I don't know what it is. We always have so much fun. Classes are canceled. People who don't know what Hearst Day is, classes are canceled and they have a bunch of blow up rides. Like it's a big carnival outside. It's a nice, fun day.
Awesome. And a great way to go ahead and interact with administrators and faculty and staff on campus as well too. And you can't beat the food and the candy throughout the day. So I'm with Lucas. Hopefully maybe Lucas can come back and sneak into one next fall if we are so entitled to have one again. Haley, what's your favorite Mercyhurst memory?
Izzy stole the one I was thinking about. I loved that class so much. It was one of my favorite classes. And then I was going to say constitutional law, except I actually took it at the time that the pandemic hit. So I didn't get to do a mock trial, which I waited 3 years for because that's what I want to do. But that was also one of my favorite classes because we still got to go over that. I'm trying to think of interesting classes. I could say my internship, but that's not on campus. Honestly, every class that I've had is interesting in its own way. I don't think I've ever had a class that I've been like, oh, I didn't like this. So I'm going to say all of them, the classic response.
Excellent, Haley, no problem. And Mike, what is your favorite Mercyhurst memory thus far?
I don't have to be between the Albion prison class, just kind of, I've never had that experience before. I'm part of the criminal justice club, so we did a polar plunge, and that's always a good time. So we woke up real early on a Saturday morning and went out to Presque Isle and jumped in the lake with the Pennsylvania State Police. And it was a good experience because you're with everyone in your major. So you kind of get to, like, everyone in that club, you get to know each other and some of the faculties there. So it's a good time.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. And to our faculty that have joined us, why do you enjoy teaching at Mercyhurst? What is your favorite part about being part of this community? Dr. Kirchner, do you mind starting?
Yeah, I need you. I got to get ready to go to class. My absolute favorite thing about Mercyhurst is my relationships with my students. If it's not clear, I'm probably too close with my students, whether it be traveling abroad or finding cool things to do in class, like staging a prison riot, whatever it is where I get to interact with my students. This is not something I got to do because I went to big state schools, and that's just not an opportunity that you get in that type of atmosphere. And Mercyhurst not only lets us do it, but wants us to do it. So that's my absolute favorite.
Excellent. And Dr. Kirchner, before you jump and head to class, good luck with that. Do you mind sharing your contact information in the chat in case anybody wants to reach out?
I'm about to hit enter.
Awesome. Excellent. Chief Sliker, will you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what your favorite part about the Mercyhurst community is?
The smaller classroom environment and the interaction with all of the students. I learn from them at the same time they're learning from us, which is a great benefit with a small classroom size, average about 20 to 30 students in mine. But I really enjoy that. And I also have a great network of professors with experience and knowledge that I don't have, that I'm able to reach out to, build on that and share that with the students.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Dr. Garris, will you go ahead and close us with your favorite part about being part of the Mercyhurst community?
Sure. My favorite part is being able to provide different kind of opportunities for students, whether it's the prison class or talking about internships, talking about what their career paths are. And in that advising role, being able to really get to know the student to be able to get them on the path that they need to go to. So we're small enough to be able to have those kind of relationships with students and to get them to where they need to go and have an abundance of opportunities to choose from.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Dr. Garris, there looks like there might be 2 more questions that I'm hoping to pose to you that just came in the chat. Is there a possibility to go ahead and just take criminology as a minor? They don't necessarily want a double major, but definitely would like to do some exploration in that part of the academics.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a minor in criminology. We have prescripted courses. I believe it's 24 credits, and you could be any major and take a minor in criminology to talk about and study why people commit crime, what their motivations are, and so forth. So yes.
Excellent. And then I definitely wanted Jaheen to know that you definitely could be a football player on campus while also still doing your academics. And I think one of the great things about Mercyhurst is that we think that the success is tandem. So in order for students to be successful on an athletic field, typically they're also being very successful in the classroom as well too. So if you are interested in being an athlete on our campus, I would definitely encourage you to go ahead and visit our athletics website. On there is a recruit me link. You can go ahead and fill that out. And that way you can start getting on the football coach's radar, and hopefully you can obtain some footage and some statistics and also share that information with them. And then it also looks like Stephen has posed another question. Would getting an internship as soon as possible be helpful in building a career in the field you are studying? Dr. Garris, I'm going to go ahead and let you maybe touch on that.
It's great for students to want to do internships. We typically have students start internships in the spring of their sophomore year, and they have to demonstrate that they have at least a 2.5 GPA. So we want to put students out into the field who have some knowledge base already, and then they're able to build on that and apply what they've learned. So we do wait until the sophomore year, but it still allows a lot of time for students to not only do one internship, but maybe more than one internship before graduation.
Haley, thanks. I know that Attorney Freiling may have been able to go ahead and answer this from a faculty's perspective, but maybe you could also touch on it from a student perspective. Jordan was wondering what the main things or general skills that she thinks law schools will be looking for.
Yeah, so I applied back home in Canada, but I did think about applying to schools in Pennsylvania, so I do know a little bit about it. Obviously, your GPA and your LSAT score are really important. I think one thing about Mercyhurst is that if you apply yourself here, you can really stand out on your GPA, and it makes a difference because it shows that you have been able to, for 4 years, stay at a high level of academic success. But also things outside of the classroom. So I'm involved in hockey, and I've been involved in hockey. It's a big part of my life. And having a life or like a hobby outside of the classroom that you're really passionate about. So I spoke about the history of how I played hockey and how it kind of influenced me to study law. And it doesn't really make sense, but in my personal statement, I was able to portray that. So I think it's just ensuring that you have a well-rounded application. I think a lot of people stress over LSAT and GPA. My biggest thing would be do something out of the classroom, whether it's volunteering, or some people I know have started nonprofits or run clubs. So if you show that you're not only really good in the classroom, but outside of the classroom, it can really help you. And I think that's one of the things that helped me get into the U of T's law school, because it's not something easy to get into.
Awesome. Thanks, Haley. To our prospective students that have joined us today, we really appreciate you, again, scheduling time to chat with us. We realize that this wasn't the perfect substitute for hosting you on campus, but I hope that you were able to see the passion that our faculty have for not only their current students and their successes, but also our prospective students as well too. I also think you can see that our prospective students have, or excuse me, our current students have really found their niche at Mercyhurst, and that they too are enjoying that experience. I think I could speak for all of them when I say their 4 years here goes faster than they would ever have imagined it would go. So if anybody would like to continue the conversation with us after today's session, by all means, I know most of our faculty have shared their contact information in the chat. Feel free to reach out to them. In addition, the admissions office is always here as a support system, and we look forward to working with all of you throughout your college search. We hope to go ahead and see you on campus as soon as possible, but until that opportunity presents itself, please know that we look forward to continuing to engage with you in these virtual atmospheres as well too. I hope everybody has a great day. It's sunny in Erie, Pennsylvania, so I hope the weather is nice where you're at as well too. Take advantage of that. Stay well, carpe diem, and I can't wait to see you guys again soon. Thanks again for joining us today.